Hi there, my name is Amir, and thanks for visiting my blog. I'm going to walk you through a little bit about what my placement with Engineers Without Borders is going to be when I start working in Uganda in a couple of weeks. Hopefully you've just seen the first video in this post where Mike describes kind of the work that the Agricultural Value Chains team has been doing. So we've been working with agricultural businesses and farmers and looking to see how we can work with a number of different players and find out what the barriers are to farmers accessing seeds, fertilizers, chemicals, and getting a better price for when they sell their produce into the market. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit more specific in terms of what my placement itself is going to be. So just to kind of recap, Mike talked about his host father, Hussein, who has a whole bunch of different needs for farming his crops. So he might need to buy chemicals, fertilizers, and seeds. He might need tractor services. He might even need financing, and he wants to sell his crops at a decent price so he can earn a living. But what a value chain really is, as the team is called the Agricultural Value Chains team, is it doesn't stop at the farmer. It actually follows through all the way through to the larger economics of a specific agricultural crop. So we're going to, for example, use coffee, though it could be maize, it could be corn, it could be any other crop. But one of the value chains that I will be working with is the coffee value chain in Uganda. So, for example, for the coffee value chain, before the coffee reaches international markets or national retailers, so anything from kind of local stores in Kampala to your Starbuckses or your UK-based, because Uganda is closer to Europe, your UK-based coffee stores, it goes through a whole bunch of different steps that add value to the product, starting at the seed. And as we said, the farmers are going to farm it and harvest it, and they might sell to a whole bunch of different places. They might sell to local markets, and those local merchants will then sell to larger businesses. Or the farmers might have contracts with nucleus farmers, so larger farmers, who might then resell those beans to processors. And there might be some quality standards that need to be met in there. There might be transporters. And at each level of this value chain, the bean would increase in price until it reaches international markets, because all of these businesses have provided a service, whether that is ensuring the quality of the coffee, whether that's roasting the coffee, whether that's transporting the coffee. All of those things are value-added functions that have to be done to the product before it reaches international markets. So that's kind of an example of what a value chain might be. And as Mike was saying, there's development sector interventions that are working with value chains. So there might be large-scale development projects that work with businesses anywhere in this value chain. So it could be chemicals and fertilizer dealers, they could be farmer groups themselves, they could be financiers, and all kind of with the intention of improving this industry so that farmers are benefiting more from the crops that they're producing and are able to increase their yields or increase their productivity, increase their competitiveness, or increase their incomes, and those are not mutually exclusive. So the way that would happen is field officers and value chain managers in development projects might explore options with businesses, to explore new business models, to encourage them to assemble packages that treat farmers like customers, for example. They might encourage processors to integrate up the value chain or integrate down the value chain so that they're performing more functions and therefore are able to engage in different kinds of businesses. So those are kind of interventions that may be taken at any point in this value chain. But like Mike was saying, these projects are not working as well as they need to work. And that's kind of where EWB and myself and the Agricultural Value Chains team comes in. So I'm going to be partnered with one of these projects in Uganda, and these projects are working with the coffee and maize value chain. Sorry, my specific project is working with the coffee and maize value chain. So some of the issues that might be around here is sometimes field officers might not approach businesses in the open and adaptive way that they might need to. They might need to explore options before they propose alternative business models and things that businesses might need to try to improve their business and also serve the farmers better. But stock solutions are a lot easier to train people in. Adapting and kind of learning on the go and developing new ideas is not so easy. In addition, if you want kind of an adaptive approach and allow the freedom and creativity down here to work with businesses in new and exciting ways, management needs to manage in a very specific way. You need to allow that space for failure. You need to allow that space for learning, and that's also really difficult to do. And then ultimately, at the donor level, donors are demanding results. These are very expensive, large-scale projects, and they do need to be rigorously evaluated. But that demand might not be done in the most effective way. Like, you might be demanding numbers versus the kind of indicators that are really going to indicate proper impact on the industry. So I'm going to be partnered with one of these projects, and that project is in its final stages of wrapping up in Uganda. And we're going to be exploring how the system can work better for the farmer. So kind of 3 of the many questions that I'm going to be exploring over the next 1 year is, first of all, how is good facilitation done? So what is a good interaction between value chain managers and field officers and all these businesses looks like? What does a really good management style look like? And I'm going to be kind of learning on the go as well, because the people that are working in these projects are quite experienced, but I'm going to be providing that outside eye and have the freedom to kind of explore new different options. Then secondly, since these projects are working with entire industries, they're not focused on the farmer. They're focused on businesses that are ultimately working in the same industry as farmers. But the question still remains, do these kind of interventions that are working with the private sector actually benefiting the farmer? Are farmers' yields increasing? Are their livelihoods increasing? Is their income increasing? So that's kind of another question that needs to be explored, and it's very difficult to measure. And then thirdly, how can we spread these best practices? There's so many of these projects in so many different countries, and what works in some places might not in others, and also learning might not spread as easily as it needs to. So how can we really use projects to learn from them and then share that learning across different countries and across different donors and create a space where these projects can improve and value chains can then get the support that they need to thrive and then serve the farmer better. So that's kind of like a quick, not completely comprehensive view of my placement, and I'm going to be changing the scope of this work a lot, I bet, over the next few months, and I hope you follow along the blog, and if you have any questions, please do comment down here. Thank you.